Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Jennifer Scrapping Cane. Today I'm sharing an 11 by 8.5 layout. This is using the lake kit that I put together last month, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to use. I have a couple of dies that I want to use. These came from a friend, so I'm not sure who they're actually by. A couple of trees and some grass. And then I have lots of scraps in this kit, and mainly they're from Simple Stories Lakeside. The background paper, or the larger 12 by 12 that you can see there, is by Minte, and I actually only use a small piece of that. The black and white stripe paper actually doesn't make it on this layout. This piece here is close to my heart. That's the only scrap I have left. I'm going to cut my trees out of that one. And then the background paper here, I'm going to use this as the background of the layout, the top portion of it. I'm going to cut off the bottom where the boat is. And that paper is by Paper House. And that's an older paper, but I think it's still available on their website. It's in a kit, actually, a fishing kit. So here, I'm going to get started on the layout. You can see I already have some of the scraps tore and ready to go. I'm going to piece this brown cardstock at the bottom of the tan paper. And that was just to add a little bit more at the bottom. Kind of going to make a scenery layout, kind of, sort of, because it doesn't really make sense. But it kind of does, because it's out in the wilderness, and where he's fishing at is actually like a canyon. They're definitely surrounded by mountains, and the water was down below, which is pretty much anywhere in Colorado. The water is usually lower than, the mountains, since we are so high up in elevation. And this was again over by Pikes Peak. So here I cut a little sign. I didn't show that metal die in the intro, or the letters. The letters are actually from a Tim Holtz tree ring die set, and it comes with a circle and a heart, and then it comes with all the letters of the alphabet. So I cut those out 3 times and then pieced them together to make them a little bit thicker. And then the wood plank die, I'm not sure what that's from either. And I just cut it down so that it would be a little bit smaller. It was quite long, so I needed it to be a little bit smaller to fit fishing on it. That's what I'm going to put on it. So right now I'm just splattering white acrylic paint all over my little pieces that I've cut out so far. As of right now, I only have 3 trees cut out. I will cut out a few more trees from a different paper that I found in my stash from close to my heart. So it's the same color green, but it has a little different design on it up close. But in the video, it'll probably look like they're the same paper. And then I'll cut a couple more trees from the Minte paper and from the photo mat paper, because that was the only paper I had left of that green grassy color. So I cut both of the grass pieces twice, and I cut one in the lighter green and one in the darker green. And then this is Shimmerz Paint, and right on the rocks is that one there. And then I think I'll bring in one more. Yeah, this one here is the, what is that one? Emerald City, I think, is what that one is. It's a darker green, and it matches the darker green paper perfectly. And I'm just going to use it for splatters in the background. You'll see that, I believe, here in just a minute. Cleaning up my desk. I'm going to cut my background, so I'll show you how I do that. And I just want to cut off the boat at the bottom, and then I'm going to place a piece of paper at the bottom so you won't see that little piece that's still there. And then the little boat that's kind of floating in the background, you won't see that either, because it'll be covered up by embellishments. But I really like this background paper because it's kind of subtle, and it shows the trees in the background. And it also is mimicking water, like in a foggy area, I guess, is what it's kind of showing. But in real life, you can see the trees in the background. I'm not sure how good it's showing on your view of the camera. Once again, on my screen, it's quite small. I can see the shadows of it, and I'm sure you can see it definitely in the close-ups. So here I'm going to place down the tan colored paper at the bottom. But first I'm going to add the grass on the left and the right side, and then the frame is actually going to go in the middle at the bottom. And I thought it was going to cover up the middle where the brown cardstock is, but you'll see when I go to lay the frame down, I actually have to get another little scrap and cover up that piece at the bottom. But it's okay. It works out, and you can't even tell that I did that. Here I'm going to add the lighter green behind the darker green with the grass. And again, that's just to add a little bit more of something behind there. Make the grass look a little bit more fuller and different. And it gives you something to look at. This layout has a lot on it, but I really like it in the end. It turned out really cute. And the photos aren't all that. They're just him fishing or sitting and waiting fishing. Because that's what fishing is all about, is waiting. And he kept pulling out, the seagrass from the water versus, actual fish. He never caught anything that day. So here I'm going to add the fishing letters, and I believe I'll pop it up on play foam. And then get a little ahead of myself. I'm going to add each little letter down. Guess I didn't have to leave all of this in, but these are little tiny letters, as you can see. They're not very big. But they look like they're, cut up, like you cut it into the wood. So that's what I like about them. And once again, these are Tim Holtz letters. And we're done adding that. Not sure what I'm going to do next. I believe I'll start doing the splatters. Maybe. Oh, nope. I'm going to mat my photo. So here I'm going to mat it on white cardstock first. This is the littler one. And then the other two that were 3x4 layout or photos, sorry, they're going to go inside the frame together. But this one here is just him staring off into the water. And I'm going to put that little tag there on the side. It says this view, which was an absolute beautiful view of the lake and the trees and the mountains and everything around. So you can see I don't have the tree die cut out of there yet. When I first lay it down, you'll see I only start with the first 3 trees that I cut, and then I'll decide it needs more trees. So here you can see where I realize, oops, I'm going to have to fill that in. I thought the frame was going to go down at the bottom, but the little fish are hanging off, so I didn't want to cut the fish off. I wanted the fish to stay on, so I thought it was okay, just add a little piece back in. And it's okay, since it's torn up paper anyways. I mean, it's okay if there's one little piece that's pieced back in. So here, just trimming that off. So there we go. Now I have grass on both sides of him, and I'm going to add this little water paper. Actually, that was from the last layout, was left over from the fish paper. So I'm going to add that down here at the bottom, and the left and the right side. And I tore the edges of it, and I just want it to give a little something extra in the background. So I thought it was kind of fitting, even though the fish don't look like they're really swimming to me, but it's okay. It's all paper anyways in the end. It's just a layout. So, and I have fun just creating it. So here you can see where I was adding and getting the design. I was going to put the fishing sign up here, so it says Fishing Adventure, which, like I said, it was kind of an adventure since, he kept pulling random things out of the water versus fish. And here's where I'm popping up the little sign up on play foam. And I probably should have waited on this part, because I actually end up peeling some of the play foam back off of it, because I get a different idea to add with the fishing pole. I'm going to add string and wrap it around the fishing sign, the adventure sign, and then it'll go down into the trees because for some reason we always seem to get our fishing line stuck in the trees. I'm not sure if everybody else is like that, but we definitely do that quite often. So here I'm just adding a little bit of the Rita on the rocks, and that's the lighter green color. When it dries, it matches that lighter green paper. And then this is the Emerald City, and it's going to match that darker green once it dries. And that was just to add a little something to the background. Otherwise, it would have just been a little too plain for me, as usual. And be done here in a minute. Not sure why I left all this in so slow. Could have sped it up, I guess. And I wanted to get a little bit more on the fishing sign, but not on the adventure. Just because the Shimmerz doesn't really dry on the foam stickers. Since they're kind of like I don't know, like a glossy finish, I guess. The Shimmerz has a hard time soaking into that. We're here cleaning up. Obviously, I'm done. I'm going to move on. All right. So now I have more trees. And so I'm showing you the other trees. They kind of sort of match, but you can tell they're just a little bit lighter. And that's partly because they have a design on them. And then my little scraps of trees, because I had to cut them from that photo mat and there wasn't much paper left there to cut the trees from. But I figured at least if I get like part of the side and the tops of the trees, then I could, you know, stick them in between other trees and they would look like a complete tree. So then there's the one with the plaid paper, since I added that up over behind the photo at the top. I want to bring that plaid in one more place. I'm going to start adding everything and attaching it. And this little photo and sign, I know I want to go up here. I'm going to slide the little sign in, and then this tree I'm going to line up next to the photo, so it's going to look like it's tucked in behind the photo, but obviously everyone will know that watch the video that half the tree is actually missing. But that's what I like about, you know, scrapbooking, is you can use the tiniest little piece of paper and get an embellishment out of it and hide it, tuck it in, and nobody would know. That was my son thinking he was funny, sticking his head in my camera in the layout. There you go. I left him in there because even though he said, don't show me on YouTube, if you're going to stick your face in my video while I'm scrapbooking, I'm going to leave your face there. So that was him. And I'm going to finish adding the little trees. And I added the darker tree at the top, and then I'm going to add a tree down here at the bottom. And I kind of go back and forth from each little area. I kind of can't do just one area and then go to the next area. And then the other tree that you saw there is actually just the top of one of the trees. I tore it. And then I have the photo that I want to place down here. So I'm going to kind of get an idea of where it's going to go. I believe I pop it up on Playfoam, but maybe not. Maybe not. I thought I did. Guess not. I'm going to add that little duck, which is from the foam stickers, over here with these trees. So that's why I brought in more trees into my areas. And I should have staggered these trees a little bit more on this side, but in the end, it's okay. It's, like I said, it's just a scrapbook layout. It's okay. But I did stagger them a little bit, but they could have been staggered a little bit more. And I think they would have looked a little bit, I don't know. To my eye, they would have looked a little bit better. But I also think adding in this tree here was probably the issue. I probably shouldn't have added that tree in. I should have just left it with the other four. But it's okay. It's done and it's complete, so it's okay. I'm going to cut the edges of the trees off here in just a minute when I get done with the layout, but for right now they're just hanging over the edge. This one here, I'm going to add one more tree on this side. Actually, 2 more trees, I believe. Yeah, I'll add that little tree and kind of overlap it on the photo. And that's where the title's going to go, is up there. And then that's this little location tag. That's from the sticker sheet and the ephemera pack. The little heart was on the sticker sheet, and then the little location tag was in the ephemera pack. And the little fishing pole is from Some Assemblage Required. I'm not sure if she still has those available. Those ones are a little on the thicker side, so those might have been from her older collection of wood veneer. But she adds in lots of fishing icons and different wood veneer pieces all the time. So you can always check her website and see if she has anything else that's kind of sort of like that. So I'm trying to attach the fishing sign kind of to the fishing pole. That's just to take your eye to the title from the top to the bottom. So, and I kept fighting with the string, and then I'm like, duh, put ATG on the back of the sign so the string can stick to it, and then you don't have to keep fighting with it. Work smarter, not harder, but nope, that wasn't me today. I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue before I put it down. And then when I add the adventure title, that's when I'll realize that the play foam, I shouldn't have added all of it across the little fishing title, because it's not going to lay on top of the adventure title correctly. It's going to be too high up. And then I'm adding a little bit of foam to the fishing pole, even though this fishing pole is already kind of on the thicker side. But since it's crossing over the chipboard frame, it needed a little something on the end so that it wouldn't be uneven. So here's where I'm going to come in with the sign, and again, I'm still fighting with the string, trying to wrap it around and get it in the right place, or at least to look somewhat in the right place. And see, I can't get adventure up to the edge of the photo in the trees because of the play foam. So it's okay. I just peeled it off and didn't tear my sign, luckily. So it worked out. And there, I'm going to add the adventure and then fishing up here with the sign. Finally get it stuck down. And then I believe I'll add a couple more things down at the bottom. Oh yeah, I have a little lure, which is also from Some Assemblage Required, and then I put a little paper lure on top of it to add a little bit more to it, since it's just brown wood veneer. I always like my wood veneer either to be colored or add something to it to make it a little bit more interesting, I guess, instead of just being plain wood veneer. I don't really like plain wood veneer. Need a little foam piece up there. And once again, that's just to make sure everything is even in the layout. And that kind of helps for not having as many lumps and bumps in your album, or for it to damage the page that's across from it. Sorry, I think I bumped my mic. Here, I'm adding a little dragonfly. Once again, that's a little nod to my dad, because that was his favorite thing to do, was go fishing and go wandering around Colorado. I think I've been to every little area in Colorado thanks to him, because he used to like to wander around and just literally go for drives and just see what he could find. So here, adding a little bit of ink to the trees on the edge once I cut them off. Cut this tree off on this side, and then add a little bit of ink. And then that little circle round wood veneer piece actually doesn't make it on the layout. It was a little bit too big, but also it didn't need it after I got done adding everything else. But I am going to add sequins, and I'm actually going to add sequins in 5 places. I cut that part out just because it took me a while, and I used the 2 mixes that I've been using, which is Hold My Hand and an older fall one that has orange in it. And the fall one is not available, but the Hold My Hand one was still on the website, was still available. This by Spiegelmom Scraps. And anytime you would like to pick up sequins, you can use my code Jennifer15 and save 15% on sequins. There's the finished layout, a few close-ups, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!